Hello my lovely gamers, my name is Jonal and today we're taking a look at a gold Genji here on Lijiang Tower. This was actually submitted to me on our Discord server under coaching. There's a link to that down in the description. I will talk a little bit more about how you can get your videos reviewed in the end of this video, so stick around. And with no further ado guys, let's just start here. Okay, so you have a Mercy, a Genji, you had a Roadhog, a Mei, a Kree. And I didn't see actually what the last guy was. They're also going straight forward. You should deflect a little bit early there because you know that this is all the Reinhardt, so you should have waited for the fire strike to come in. And you shouldn't have run a straight line directly forward. You also have a death ball. Okay, so let's see here. How does this engagement go? You ran charged. You dashed instantly in there, which I think was a mistake. Your aim is a little bad. It looks like your sensitivity is a little bit too high.
Yeah, let's go and let's get the point.
Okay, so the switch strike in the beginning, theoretically there wasn't anything wrong with it, but the problem was that you, by using it more to transport or slash to deal damage, you set yourself up for that problem that you have there, where you couldn't kill secure with your switch strike because of it. You never want to use it to either just deal damage, and you rather want to use it to position yourself. Like that. There's coming a hog there. You should just get onto the point. Very lucky you got 2.0 there. See, right there, that was bad. That was very bad. You used your switch strike to deal damage. Luckily the Reinhardt died and they could kill secure, so that's pretty good. You have your blade now, communicate that over to your team. Yeah, your sensitivity is a little bit too high, I think, because I think that's the reason that you can see it on the screen how you kinda you need to small adjust every time you wanna try to aim a point somewhere. So I think that you should lower your sensitivity a little bit because it's way too high. See right there again, you when he was hooked, you fired shurikens, that's good, but then he got killed and then you switch strike for some reason. Right, so you need to think a little bit more when you use your switch strike list up until now.
I told you, I called you Genji.
It says that's not poking. Nothing bad about that, but you want to use your Dragon Blade early next engagement to stop them. They're all coming from right.
Yeah, they're left side, front and left side. They're probably playing for a pick.
Right, you need to blade now. You need to blade now. If you else you're gonna lose this. Okay, every time you use your blade, you should always start double jumping a lot, because or else you can't get your switch strike down in a good angle. Good reflect there, and you also very much easier to hit. So you should always start to double jump whenever you can when you pull that Dragon Blade.
To be honest, this is like maybe my third time.
And also when you walk, you should start double jumping a lot more. That was a good deflect, but you should always start this double jump because it makes you switch strike rune. And like you should always start double jumping, and that's also one of the part that your switch strikes are so bad right now. I'm gonna comment a little bit on that after this. You know, we'll see how we do it here. Your aim is a little bit off, and by a little bit of being quite bad, and you should also aim a little bit higher to get headshots, so that whenever you actually hit, you actually do something good with it. Reflect, good.
Damn.
Good, now you have the reset, now you should build that hog. Blade, good job.
Good kill.
Get the mercy, get the mercy. The illusion is not that important, get the mercy. And you also use the switch strike on that blade, you use it a little bit, what can I say, too late, so that you burn the switch strike without getting the reset off proper. If you used it earlier, you could have gotten the reset off. Now it's probably lost. Yeah. Okay, so every time you jump around, you want to always double jump 24/7 because you want to get in an angle where you can switch strike onto the guy. Right now you're just switch striking through them, dealing 50 damage, and you actually also miss your target. You want to switch strike on them, so you can also melee straight after, that's 80 damage. And on top of that, you are so close that you can just right click them instantly. Instead of giving a distance where you will have to try to use your left click, or your right click will be much more inefficient. And you're doing switch striking just to deal damage. You never want to use switch strike. I think if you had switch strike there, you could just have dashed away from that. You'd never want to use switch strike just to deal damage. You want it to either to kill secure, or you want to use switch strike to get to the target or get closer to the target. Communicate with your team that you almost have blade, and double jump 24/7. Just get used to it, right? Because it makes you much harder to hit. So if they had peaked now, it would have been harder to hit you. Don't go in. Your team is not regrouped. And since for some reason the Mercy is constantly following you, so then you need to take that into consideration, that the Mercy is following you, so you can, so you will actually kill your Mercy if you engage too early. You lost your Reinhardt, now you need to get out. Just get out. This is a bad... You're isolating yourself on a side. For some reason. You're isolating yourself, which is really, really bad. It will be easy to run you down right now.
Wow, I got poked up.
Why did you play it? Your team is not engaging. You at least got out the sound barrier.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, you should... You need to wait for your team to come. Going in like that, you just wasted your ultimate, and this might actually cost you the point. Because you only had about one more push with the speed that you guys have, and you just cost that entire engagement. Which is really bad, and you wasted the Dragon Blade, which is like the game-changing ultimate. And again, you need to double jump when you use Dragon Blade because it makes you much harder to hit.
Thank you, mercy.
Alright, they don't have res. Let's try to kill the tanks or the damage healers first, alright?
Alright.
On that distance, you shouldn't right click unless you were trying to get the shield.
Behind Reaper.
Reaper's behind you.
Come heal me, come heal me.
Alright, aim a little bit higher so you can... And as you saw that you were double jumping and you land a headshot instantly because of it. Because you got that angle on them, so when you right clicked, you landed a headshot because you already were in a perfect angle for it.
Reaper flanked and killed me.
Oh, okay, that was...
Besides that, you know, your sensitivity is a little bit high, your aim is okay. I would love to see it much better. You can always get better with your aim on any hero in every rank. But I think that your sensitivity is a little bit too high, and you need to think a little bit more about how you want to use your Swift Strikes.
Okay, I'll play healer this round.
Because every time you use a Swift Strike, you want to make it so that you can get onto the target. You don't want to just Swift Strike randomly
I think I'll play
to deal damage or anything.
Maybe it's pseudo tank, but I can switch.
And I also think that I think your reflex are pretty decent. Sometimes you're burning them a little bit too early, but in general you're doing pretty good with reflecting damage back at the enemy team.
If ever you pass by the bird.
Should we go on the right?
Go right,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's go right.
Okay, everyone's going right side.
Safer.
Because, probably because they're afraid of that Pharaoh person. I'd love to see your team running bridge. Because you have Mei. Aim a little bit higher.
Alright, let's move on.
Nice.
Get back to team. Good Swift Strike back to team there. You know the Mercy is on the left side. And don't just right click all the time. On that distance you want to left click. Looks like your team is pretty good at cleaning up. Right click is only when you're very, very, very close. Okay, on that point, pretty good. You want to peek now and try to build some more charge. You need to look at your team. The team is attacking for somehow they shattered. Mei was slow, she's on bridge. Call out that she's on bridge.
Back off, Ryan.
Get on the point.
I know, I need to get back.
Oh, how did that not go wrong?
I see, there's no need for you to right click at that range.
Shield.
You should get you comfortable with your left click, so at that range you can land consistent maybe 1 to 2 shurikens per left click, right?
They're going right side.
On right side. So you need to wait for a round, reflect that. Very nice. Now you need to wait. They ice walled. Did they get the team though? The Ryan charge you want to engage now. You want to help him? Good Swift Strike. Now you're behind him. Go for the Mercy before she rests. Right? Go for the Mercy. Good. No need to reflect when your tank was right behind you. That was a waste of shadow because you already have won that engagement, but it's, you know, it's okay. You almost have blade, you want to communicate that to your team, and you want to use it pretty early so that your team can engage when you engage, and so before the enemy team can start burning any ultimates, you already have used your ultimate so you can slow that push or deny that push. Pretty good. Just poking. Dash up into there, and it's way too late. I'm gonna poke it. I'm gonna stop it here. When they cross the bridge, they're caught in a choke. They're crossing this like small confined area where they can't do anything, right? And at that moment, it's the perfect time for you to dash and blade. You use so much time that they got to pop Tactical Visor, they got to pop Blizzard, and they have probably won this engagement because you already lost your user. You are at low HP, you cannot peek because of Tactical Visor. You also fell back on the wrong side. See, all your team is on the right side. Your Mei, your Reinhardt, your Mercy is on right side, and you are standing here on left side with an ultimate that you could have used if you had more HP, or at least if you had outlasted with your team. So that's really bad. You should use it much more earlier, and then you should have maybe had targeted the soldier, then the Mercy, and then you could try to work with something from there. So let's just start again and see how this actually plays itself out. You saw the Visor. I'm not sure.
3 of us are down.
Right? If you want to use it, then you need to use it now, right? You need to jump a little bit more so you don't get hit too much. selecting the Reinhardt instead of going for another low HP target.
Good job, Genji.
Like the Mei was frozen, you should have gone for her instead, because right now she could just contest that. That's the res, go for the sword, that's really good. Good target selection.
Wolf very clear.
That's pretty good. Melee again, just melee again. Right, again, you're
Down.
that was a lot of time. See, again, you just switch strike just to deal damage, which you shouldn't. You need to kill that Ryan now fast, so that you can build your Dragon Blade. And you need to focus the same target as your team is focusing. Get it starting?
Good job.
Yeah, we got this. Let's go.
And then the Pharaoh. There's also Mercy coming. You see that? Good. Dash.
Bitch.
Job.
No res, no res.
And then use the dash to save yourself, that's okay. Okay, so you need to
Good job.
pay more attention to what your team. The Mei was frozen. Your Mei was freezing. Also the Reinhardt straight after that, and you didn't shoot at him. You need to help your team killing. You can't just go on solo missions all the time. As I've said multiple times, I think on my channel, going for lone wolfing is really good, because if you go lone wolfing and then you can kill something, then you can get a pick and an advantage. But if you can't help your team, then there's no real use, right? You need to attack, and this goes for everyone, the same target as that your team are going for, or else there's no real use for you to do that. Your Dragon Blade is pulled too late. That's standard fault that I also talked in my ult management guide. You're using them way too late. You need to use them so early that the enemy team can't do anything about them, but not so early that it's a waste of an ultimate, right? It's kind of weird and it's very hard to get. I think you're missing a tank now. Yeah, you're running triple DPS.
Yeah.
Which can work. Again, see, you're running alone here. Good, you got a good pick onto the Mercy. You're missing a little bit too much here. And there, you switch strike you got the kill, and then you switch striked. Now you don't have your switch strike anymore, right? That's pretty bad. But you don't run in a straight line towards the enemy team and then try to reflect damage back at you, because in higher ranks it's just gonna get you killed. You know, that's actually standard trying to take out the Pharah combat, but if you don't have the accuracy to it, it's not gonna work.
Oh my
Right.
god, there's the issues. What
Very
the
good.
hell is going
But
on?
in general, you don't want to just start to just spam. That's a good switch, like, because you use it to get into a position. Now you need to get out before you get killed. Playing around this pillar, and you're not double jumping. If you double jump, you would have dodged that grenade, right?
Now you love to your name.
Looks like you lost a player.
Rip.
Rip.
I suppose that's a DC.
Probably it.
You probably just DC'd.
Okay, see, you can either now hold your blade or you can use it instantly. You lost one player. You held it way too long. Way too long. Got the Mercy. That was a good dash. This should be yours. No way, you lost too many players. And again, it's very hard for you to keep a track onto a target because your mouse sensitivity is so high.
Genji,
Pretty good. Now just hide.
just stall if you can.
No need for you to try to. You don't have the accuracy to actually to deal with this Pharah. So if you don't have that, then don't try to, right? It sounds very rough, but right, you're just wasting your HP and time on trying to kill something that you know you can't kill. It's very hard already for a Genji to kill a Pharah.
Okay.
Looks like you will be holding this point, which... Dude, you have a good win, even though your team is pretty bad at retaking stuff. Unless you
Dude, I
miss
got
it.
fucking game bang.
Again, don't try to
There's
go for the
too much-
soldier.
There's too
Good.
much like chaos going on. Hold on.
It's loss. And again, you switch strike through the entire enemy team. For what reason? You deal 50 damage to everyone, good job, but you're not getting any kill reset. Now the Winston here is coming for you, the Zarya, the soldier, you have no escapability because you're using your deflect right now. So you are probably gonna die because that you got your dash now. For some reason they didn't focus fire you.
If they take the point, that's fine.
The Mercy is very low, you need to get out, just switch like that. And then you got your blade now, communicate that to your team, use it in the next engagement. You are running a Winston and a Zarya, meaning you need to play even more on, what can I say, either inside of your team or on the very outside of their team, so you can't get easily away. And now you even need to think even more about how you use your switch fire so you don't become an easy target for the Winston. Right now,
Looks your asshole.
you got a pick. I don't know if they have any, because you don't press tab enough.
Where we got
Good kill on the
20.
Zarya. Now you need to engage. Dash up into there so you can get closer to the enemy team and then pull Dragon
No,
Blade.
let's just do it now.
Dash. up into the air, and pull Dragon Blade. You know where the Mercy is. Instead, you just
Kill their Mercy, right?
right? If you dash up into the air where the Mercy is, then you get a good overview and you get closer to your target, then you can Dragon Blade. Again, your sensitivity is too high, doing that you can't really keep your track on whoever you want to kill. Meaning that you killed the Pharah instead, I think, but you never got the Mercy that you were looking for.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they combo that shit.
Yeah, this is lost. Just build your blade on something. Go for one of the tanks. Just go for the Winston or die now. You have one of those two choices, and now you're using too much time.
Zarya's one on
Right?
our back line. She's one on our back line.
So it's more about you need to use your Dragon Blades a little bit earlier and a little bit better. And I still think that your main problem right now is your sensitivity is just way too high. And you're not aiming high enough. You're kind of shooting their knees instead of shooting their heads, right? Again, running a straight line, making it very easy for them to do, and very easy for a Mei to land a headshot on you if they have one. That's the tactical visor, you're just hiding from it. You just group with your Reinhardt shield if you can. That's 2 players, and this is lost. You're gonna lose this engagement probably unless you pull up some kind of miracle. Again, you want to build your Dragon Blade now.
I'm dead, I'm dead.
Good. Use your dash a little bit too early. Because for what reason? You dash straight down upon the Winston, which you couldn't even kill secure. So, even though that's normal to see when they have an Ana or something, you dash straight down upon the Ana to make sure that you're in range of your Dragon Blade. Doing that on the Winston that's full HP is just gonna, what can I say, leave you without mobility and then just fuck up your day. So you need to make sure that when you use your Dragon Blade, that you think about how you use your Swift Strike, because your Swift Strike is only to move on to the next target. Unless you have Nano Boost on you, then it's a little bit different. But in general, when you run a normal Dragon Blade, your Swift Strike is only to when you kill the first target, or if the first target is like Mercy and flies away, then you need to use your Swift Strike to get to the next target, or to position yourself better to get back to a healer, right? Using it to deal damage is not gonna help, because you deal 120 with one swing and 120 with the next, being enough to two-shot something like a Mercy. But when you Swift Strike, you do 120 plus the 150, and you still need to do the last swing with your sword to kill him. So there's no use for using that Swift Strike. You're taking over here again. You're grouping with your team. There's no real use for it. You're just getting poking.
No one's the right side.
And now you're out of position. Swift Strike back to your team. Good job. Right now you're just spamming. Just random normal spamming, stay with your Reinhardt, and go for the target that they're going for. Wait, did you dash?
Zarya's down.
You dash. I think you dash to get into the healers, but there's no good reason for that. This engagement is probably lost. They have a Torbjorn.
Yeah, I gotta kill her, I gotta kill her.
So that Torbjorn turret needs to be focused fast, and that's actually not something that you can do too much about. You're trying to deal with it, which is pretty good. Good, you got it down. But now you're dead. The problem right now is that your team is splitting so much, which is a huge problem.
This Pharah keeps going for me.
And right now they're starting to build up quite a lot of counters to you. I'm not saying that it's bad. As long as someone deals with the Torbjorn turret, you still will have room to work with, because this team is not coordinated enough to deal with you. So it's actually pretty good as long as someone can deal with the Torbjorn turret.
You guys need to get up off the bridge. Like, cross it or...
That's a molten core. Just dash out, dash out. You could dash over the wall and got back to the team. Now you're gonna die because you're isolating yourself onto the point, right? It was a nice try to get out, but in general, in higher ranks, you would have died. And you need to be thinking when you're using your Swift Strike, because you're leaving yourself vulnerable way too often. You're 97 on Blade. Okay, this is when you go over to Reaper, I suppose?
It's probably Reaper.
Yeah. Even though you were 97, I would actually have said that, you know what, I want to hold this and try to get something good out of it. But again, it's okay that you swap. Kill it, just jump off the map. Jump off the map. Right, you need to right now, what you're doing, yeah, sure, you're getting ult shots, but you're also giving the entire enemy team a lot of ult shots, and you're delaying your death. Now they have to wait for you to respawn, and there's a huge chance that the enemy team will get a pick. When they get picked, they need to wait for that guy, and then that goes on, and then all of a sudden they are at 99. Right? See, your team is already engaging, but they're engaging without you, so you don't have your ult. They got off Graviton, you use Trance, and you're now flanking behind them. Okay, you're killing the turret, and now you're going for Torbjorn. Torbjorn's turret is important when it's stage 2, but it's not that important when it's stage 1 and there seems hammering on it, right? So that was a little bit wrong prioritizing. You're pushing that armor back, very good. Right? You at least understand you need to be close range and that you need to kill that Torbjorn turret, because he is very, very important to get killed.
Killed the Mercy, otherwise
You
she
almost
has
have your ult, you
res,
need to communicate that
just
over to your team, that you almost have your ultimate. And there's no need for you to peek. They have an Orisa. Right now, there's no real reason for you to peek. And if you peek behind the Reinhardt shield, right now you just ran in front of the Reinhardt shield, there was a couple of centimeters right behind you.
Yeah.
So just make sure you stand behind the Reinhardt shield so you don't take unnecessary damage.
George's gonna set up again.
Don't teleport behind them. You make too much sound. No idea. See, why are you doing this?
Mercy uses red.
Why did you do this? Look where your team is. Look at where you are. And it wasn't like you were pushed this way. You on purpose went this way when your heal is over there. I understand you want to do a flank, but right now, if they just turn around on you while they're shielding your team, then you're gonna die, right? The only thing that will happen now if your team pushes very aggressively on them, but that's not gonna happen. And they lost their shotguns. You have die to die. You're trying to use it, which is pretty good. You need to get the Mercy. Looks like she's getting out, but she doesn't have res, so it's okay. You never want to isolate yourself like that. You need to stay with your team, especially when you're a Reaper. You really need to stay with your team. With Genji, at least a Swift Strike, and you can get back to your team. Same with Tracer, you can at least get back to your team. With Reaper, you have Ray Form, which is not that good for doing exactly that.
Mercy has res.
So do we though.
And we also have Xenol.
Again, look where your team is, look where you are. And it's not just that you might die. If they push very aggressive on your team, then you don't have the damage that you will need, and you will probably die. Or your team will probably die, and then you will die after that, right? So you need to stay in your team, also just because they need that damage in this.
Don't get booped.
What is this?
Yeah, please do not get booped. Like my
Right,
dumbass.
now you're gonna die, because now you're isolating yourself away from your team. You're gonna get the late spawned. You're trying to get a pick out of it, you're not gonna. Okay, you at least got the fair of it. But they lost their shotguns. Now they're gonna engage and cap the point. And if they clean your team, wipe the team, then they will probably, you're mostly suicided. Then they will probably be able to cap it, and you won't be able to get back onto it.
Die on point if you're gonna die.
Right?
That
Aura's in the window.
You're trying to contest as much as you can.
You res?
See, that's the big problem. You isolate yourself, and that costs you the entire game. If you stayed with your team and not get picked there, then you're gonna hold that second point where you are really effective in close combat. You could have managed to hold that. There's no way your team can back. If it's at about, I think it's 92 or 93, if they team killed, you will never be able to run back to the point on a 2 CP map. I'm not sure if it actually counts for 90, but at least 92 or 93, it's impossible to get back in time. And that lost you the point. So, recap. You're Genji. You don't double jump enough. Not nearly enough. You need to double jump to be harder to hit, to get better angles for headshot, and to be able to swift strike so you can swift strike onto them instead of through them. So you can use your melee, and you can also shuriken them in the back. Right? That way you are in close combat. Genji is best in close combat. That's when his right clicks are good. And it also seems that that your attack wave, that's the best, is your right clicks. So use that to your advantage. Never swift strike to deal damage. Never swift strike unless you know that you can kill something, so you can reset, and you need to be able to kill it fast. Running in straight line towards your enemy team to reflect may work at this rank, but in higher rank, diamond, platinum, I think, not gonna happen. You need to use deflect more tactically, but it's really good that you understand that there are certain heroes that you can reflect and that's worth reflecting, and certain that are not. Torbjorn turret, I think you try to reflect that, is not one of them. It doesn't deal nearly enough damage. But Roadhog and Reaper, really good to reflect, especially in this low rank, because they don't know how to stop shooting. I'm begging you to please lower your sensitivity, because I think that would solve a lot of the problems that you have right now with your accuracy. And you also need to aim much higher so you can land headshots, so when you finally land something, it's much more damage. But it's much harder to do, but that's the best way to maximum your damage. And especially, or at least, on tanks, because if you do that headshot, then you will be your Dragon Blade much faster. About your Dragon Blades, they seem to be pretty good. You're using them way too late, and you're not swift striking up in the air. That's very normal to do, so your Ana can see you to get nano boost, but also because you get a good overview of the enemy team, and you get further into the enemy team backline, where most of the time their supports and their hit scans are the target that you want to kill. You don't want to be in the front line attacking the Reinhardt. You're doing very sneaky Dragon Blades from behind, which works pretty well. But a lot of time to dash up into the air, especially when they are pushing in on you, so that you have this overview and you can see them, and then you can dash down to whatever target, or you can just fall down to whatever target you want to kill, and then you're already in their face, and you have your Swift Strike saved, so that you can, so when, for example, the Mercy tries to fly away, you can just Swift Strike back after her. And also, double jump more when you Swift Strike, because if you don't double jump when you Swift Strike, then you have this huge problem that it's so easy to hook you, or sleep dot you, or something like that. And you also need to manage your abilities a little bit longer. I talked to you about that with your Swift Strike, that you dash is too much, but also sometimes you reflect a little bit at situations where I don't think you should have reflected. Reflect should only be used to either reflect a huge amount of damage onto an enemy to try to push him down. Like Roadhog, if you want to 1v1 a Roadhog, you need to use deflect a lot of time to kill him. But like on stuff like when the Reaper is coming at you, you can normally just keep a distance from him and then left click him. So think a little bit when you use your deflects, because reflecting huge amount of damage back upon your opponent works in some situations, but sometimes you waste it too early and then you're a much too vulnerable target. Besides that, I think that, you know, this is what I expected from a gold Genji, and if you just get those like the double jumps, your Swift Strikes, your accuracy, so you lower your DPI maybe a little bit, and also your Dragon Blades on a little bit more on point, you will easily be able to climb to a higher level. And one last thing I think is very important to do: you don't talk enough. Of course, that's something that always happens, and you sometimes go in alone. You try to go on these flanks to get picks, and as I said, it might work in lower ranks. That might be the reason you've done it, because sometimes you pull it off, but it's very inconsistent. At a higher rank, you will get punished for it, which will leave you, you know, at a problem, because then you get picked in the beginning of the engagement, and then you will always leave it at a 5v6. Now, on your Reaper, the biggest mistake that you do is that you isolate yourself for a team. Reaper is not a flanker. No matter what people tell you, he's not a flanker. It's not the reason that he got his teleport ability, which I think is called Shadow Step. Reaper's job is to stay in the main group and deal a shit ton of damage when your team engage. That's his job. Stay with your main group, stay with your tanks, and kill everything that goes in your path. Teleporting behind enemy lines, stuff like that, is not a good option at all. And coming from behind is not a good option, because, as I said, if they just push very hard on your main group will die, and there's nothing that you could do with it, because you were not in that main group to help and protect your team. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to submit your own gameplay, upload it to YouTube. It must be 1080p, 60 FPS. It must be a game. And there mustn't be like any music in the background. It should normally just be your in-game audio with the comms, and maybe also your own microphone if you're talking, just to make it easy for me to know if you actually are communicating or not. Just drop that onto Underwatch under submit gameplay, or you can actually drop it into our Discord server, which there's a link down in the description under coaching. That way you at least make sure that I see it, because on Underwatch I just look over stuff. I don't know if anything is meant to directly for me, or if anyone is meant for, you know, just in general if someone wants to do coaching. If you want to pay attention more to me and the channel and my team on Twitter, then there's a link to that down in the description as well. I hope you guys enjoy. If you enjoyed, then you can subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like if you like, dislike if you dislike. Drop what hero you want to see in the next episode down in the comments. And also, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I've been Jonal, and as always, guys, keep the enemy in your crosshair.